A very good morning to you. I'm back again talking about Qabalah, or at least the kind of Qabalah that's of interest to modern mystics and modern magicians and such. Here I am again with my propeller. This morning we're going to take a little something uh, out of my book, Son of Chicken Qabalah. The whole title is Son of Chicken Qabalah, Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford's Mostly Painless Practical Qabalah Lecture. Okay. The, the little goofy design here sort of explains it a little bit further. A new manual of Kabbalistic initiation ceremonies, teachings, exercises, and practical meditations created expressly for dilettantes with really short attention spans who pretentiously consider themselves Hermetic Kabbalists, but who nonetheless sincerely desire to apply a tiny portion of the Hebrew Kabbalah for spiritual enlightenment. Does that sound like you? Okay. Actually, this is a manual of a 3-degree Kabbalah initiatory order. Now, it was hoped, and actually it has manifested in several very dramatic ways, as an actual mounted degree officers, props, everything else, and initiatory candidates going through a 3-degree Kabbalah initiation, complete with all of the trappings of a classic initiatory structure, Masonic, magical, whatever. Okay, it's something you most people will just read through by themselves and sort of put themselves through this ritual of self-initiation, which is actually a pretty cool thing. Or you could get together with about a half a dozen friends and actually mount these 3 dramatic initiatory degree ceremonies and make your entrance into Kabbalah, the Hebrew alphabet, all of that on a very visceral, experiential, initiatory way. And it's a very magical thing. And it has been done in hotel rooms over a 2-day weekend and things like that. Well, right here in Sacramento a couple of years ago, and in other places, I understand they've even translated it and done it in I believe it was Finland, and but if you've got a group of friends, whether you belong to a Golden Dawn kind of thing, or if you belong to a Thelemic kind of thing, or if you got an OTO group that does classes, it would be a fun thing to actually mount this thing. And like the Chicken Kabbalah, the setup for it is kind of goofy and kind of fun. But the initiation ceremonies themselves, the exercises, the meditations, it's all just very straightforward and serious stuff. I'm going to give you a taste of this by just giving you the very brief little welcoming lecture after the candidate has gone through the first portion of the first degree initiation ceremony. So they've already gone through the usual steps, sort of formatted in the same way as the Golden Dawn, the Masons, blindfolds and stuff like that, and it follows the same kind of formula. And you've been given the password and the sign and everything of the degree, and uh, you settle in for uh, the welcoming lecture. And after the welcoming lecture, well, you'll see how it proceeds. But so I hope you enjoy this. And if you do enjoy the chicken Qabalah, uh, and found it useful for you, uh, this book will help you apply, literally apply in an ongoing meditational process, what you learn in the chicken Qabalah. Uh, okay, the welcoming lecture. Just imagine you're sitting there with all the other initiates that have gone through that with you so far in this first degree. Dear friends and comrades, I compliment you on your steadfast willingness to undergo the confusion and discomforts which you have cheerfully endured so far. I assure you it's not our objective to embarrass you with childish ordeals or torment you with make-believe horrors. Rather, it is our intention to offer you experiences designed to fundamentally and profoundly modify your psyche, so that you may grow more perfectly attuned to the fundamental harmonies of creation. And that's exactly what Qabalah is meant to do. Our holy order, that's the generic name, OHO, our holy order, has no name. We do not claim to be an ancient and formal mystery school with thousands of members around the world. Rather, we meet and work only when and where our dreams intersect. In truth, you are the only member of our holy order. You are the honored teacher, you are the worthy guide, you are the temple, and you are the teachings. You are the shrine, and you are the God within the shrine. For the moment, however, you're not yet awake enough to realize that the words I speak are true. So for the time being, simply continue to embrace your role in a dream in which you are the newest initiated member of our holy order, a modern mystery school created just for you. I caution you, however, do not misjudge the underlying motives of our pleasant and casual approach to the subject of Qabalah. Do not think that just because we laugh and take playful delight in our labor, that we are not a real initiatory society, engaged in serious work on a cosmic scale. Painless and undemanding as your experience today has been, you are even now undergoing true and profound initiation. This is not something that we are doing to you. Rather, it is something you are doing to yourself. You have willfully placed your foot upon the path, and by doing so, you have triggered an unstoppable chain of events. Nothing in heaven and earth can now prevent you from arriving inevitably at your destination. In the past, mystery schools and initiatory orders operated as secret societies whose members were bound by terrible oaths to be obedient to the superiors of the order and sworn to secrecy as to the nature of the work. Perhaps in the past there were good reasons for such obedience and secrecy. But our holy order will never demand any such promises from you. At each step of your initiatory career, your only oath shall be to yourself and to yourself alone. A pledge to awaken. A pledge to become truly self-aware. Qabalah teaches that each one of us is the perfect image of God. When we come to full realization of who we are, when we wake up, we will realize that we are not merely the image of God, we are in essence God. That is why in the ceremony you just experienced, you were introduced as Yah, Y-A-H. One of the many names of the supreme singularity of being. From your studies, you will recall that Yah is a special name of God's spoken of in the opening verse of the Sefer Yetzirah, the God that initiates the opening sequence of creation by means of 10 numbers and 22 letters. But at the moment, as we will repeatedly remind you, you are not awake to your true divine nature. You are asleep and dreaming. You are in a dream inside of many other dreams. I cannot wake you up. Worthy guide, that's the other officer, cannot wake you up. Qabalah can't wake you up. Death cannot wake you up. Reincarnation cannot wake you up. Only when you open your heart and mind, only when you begin the process of tuning up the sleep-rusted moving parts of your soul, only when you lubricate your consciousness with the anointing oil of orderly madness that is Qabalah, will you begin again to think like God. No matter how much we may try to teach you, we cannot teach you to think like God. No matter how long and hard you study, you cannot study how to think like God. You can only remember how to think like God. My Qabalah is not and never will be your Qabalah. And you will proceed in your work in your own unique way. Each of us slumber and dream our own particular dream. And so, each of us must awaken in our own particular way. If you're truly attracted to Qabalah, you will, in the coming months and years, collect and read scores of books about Qabalah. We will, of course, recommend those texts, or these texts, which will initially be the most helpful to your ongoing self-education. But all these reference works will be meaningless to you unless you have first started the process of remembering how to think like God. That is the purpose of our holy order. And that is all we promise to offer you. I ask you now, do you accept the promise and wish to continue? And then we wait for them to say yes, hopefully. If not, we go home. We eat the dinner. You go home. If they answer yes, I said, at each step of the process, it is you who make the first move. Are you willing to begin? Are you ready to take the great oath to yourself right now? Yes. Very well. Please stand up and give the first degree sign. Okay, of course, you don't know it yet. If you have the book, you'll know the first degree sign. And say after me, here's the oath. I solemnly and sincerely promise myself that I will awaken to the true essence of my being. Period. Thank you. Candidate repeats. Thank you. Be seated. I will be frank with you. At the beginning of your journey, your teachings and assignments will seem strange, confusing, and probably for many of you dreadfully boring. You will not immediately understand why you are learning and memorizing so many seemingly useless things. You'll probably ask yourself, do all Kabbalists feel so bewildered and confused at the beginning? And the simple answer is, hell yes. Don't worry about it. The Hebrew Kabbalah is has a 1,000-year-old traditional history among scholars and intellectuals of the Jewish religion. Like the illuminated masters of every age and culture, the ancient Kabbalists were aware that God and the secrets of God are present in all things at all times. Nevertheless, for various reasons, certain passionately religious Kabbalists chose to focus their investigations exclusively on the books of their own culture's sacred scriptures, to extract infinite wisdom and the divine mysteries from every letter and every word written therein. They associated the letters of their language to numbers so that they might glean more wisdom from the elegant beauty and music of mathematics. The ancient Jewish Kabbalists elevated their art and practice to breathtaking heights of intellectual complexity. But in their religious zeal, they became stiff-necked and dogmatic, asserting the wisdom of Kabbalah can be found only in their own scriptures. They lost sight of the fundamental truth outlined in our 10th commandment. That's what we talked about yesterday, the 10th commandment. Look hard enough at anything, and you'll eventually see everything. In their hubris, they fell to worshiping the tools of Kabbalah rather than the universal God within themselves that those tools were designed to reveal. I regret to say that even today, there are those who insist that in order to study Kabbalah, you must be an observant Jew. There are those who will dogmatically insist that women are forbidden to study Kabbalah. There are those who sincerely believe that only a married man over 40 years of age who has fathered at least one male child, who must own his own house and have servants so that he does not have to wash clothes or cook food or clean can study Kabbalah. Dear friends and comrades, I ask you, how many of us can say we are able to fulfill those requirements? I certainly cannot. We should always honor and respect the rights of others to their sincere and heartfelt beliefs. But there's a dramatic difference between pious Bible scholars and impartial academic scholars. And there's a profound difference between traditional Bible history and empirical and objective, verifiable history. Modern scholars are almost universal in their assertion that the fundamentals of Kabbalistic thought are not the exclusive heritage of any one particular religion or culture. Indeed, the fundamentals can be traced far back in time, even to the Sumerians. In fact, what is commonly known as the Jewish Kabbalah actually, or at least parts of it, actually developed from the myths of Greek philosophers and their ingenious marriage of the Greek alphabet to sacred numbers. Like the Greeks, the Jewish mystics use their alphabet to link letters and words to numbers and explore the qualities and relationships of numbers in order to connect every idea and concept in the universe with every other idea and concept in the universe. And that harkens back to yesterday's Ten Commandments talk. In the 12th and 13th centuries, Muslim and Christian mystics were exposed to the Greek and Hebrew Qabbalahs and soon began to understand how this marvelous way of organizing human thought could be applied to their spiritual traditions. In the late 1800s, German and English magicians, especially the magicians of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, gathered up universal concepts shared by many of the world's mythologies and religions. They organized and classified their mysteries on a scaffolding of the Hebrew alphabet, and the numbers represented by those letters. And of course, we all know they blended in the tarot with that too. And it is the material that is primarily forms the basis of modern Kabbalistic practice. And it's this material that we will be working with in our holy order. Qabalah is not a religion. It matters not what religion you are, or even if you embrace no religion at all. You don't have to believe in the objective reality of gods or angels or demons or spirits. Ultimately, concepts such as gods, angels, demons, and spirits, scriptures, words, letters, and numbers are merely colorful metaphors that can bring to life in your imagination the infinite and formless facets of the supreme consciousness. As modern Kabbalists, we honor and embrace the living allegories of our ancient and orthodox predecessors. Use skillfully the traditional God names and archangels and angels and spirits and demons. Serve as they've always served, as elegant and dramatic tools of consciousness expansion. We must not, however, allow ourselves again to fall victim to the ancient curse of superstitiously objectifying these sacred abstractions and creating for ourselves yet another silly belief system, and imprisoning ourselves in deeper and deeper levels of dream. The most we will ever ask of you is that you simply believe in yourself. Dear friends and comrades, do you believe in yourself? If the answer is yes, we finish up. And now I observe that you're growing restless and would like to take time to digest your experience so far. We will now pause in our labors so that we may rest and refresh ourselves with a delightful evening meal, which is part of the ceremony, and not just pizza. Okay, it's a memorable meal. And entertainment. Worthy guide, that's the assistant officer, I invite you, the worthy guide and I will invite you to be our guest at the banquet hall. Afterward, we ask you to return to your room, relax, bathe, perhaps even take a refreshing nap. We will meet again outside the temple door shortly before midnight and proceed with the final section of your first degree initiation. The worthy guide says, "All rise, please follow me." The worthy, the three candles on the upper, well, there's three candles on a candelabra, and they're extinguished. But the temple remains technically open for that midnight ceremony that follows. Uh, that's why it's ideally, and it's been mounted this way, a 2 day ceremony. The candidates and the officers. A hotel is secured with what they call a ballroom. Okay, they have big ballrooms and little ballrooms. Okay, you reserve that ballroom for the 2 days of the ceremony. Everybody has their own little hotel room that they treat sort of like an initiatory cell, you know, and uh, you're allowed to sort of digest the whole experience. Now, this isn't anything new. Uh, the facilities at Guthrie, Oklahoma, for the Scottish Rite uh, is the equivalent of a very large hotel that can accommodate separate rooms for a couple hundred candidates at a time. They spend an entire 3-4 day weekend kind of thing. So it's the kind of initiatory experience that is not uncommon. And the son of chicken, Qabalah, gives you that experience either vicariously by reading it or getting together with a group of friends and using this as your script and manual. Anyway, that's it for today. Okay. We'll see. Today, I believe, is National Be Happy Day, or encourage people to be happy. It's really rough if you watch the news in the morning to get yourself pumped up for a National Happiness Day. But I'm going to try. Okay, even at the coffee shop, I tried to spread a little happiness this morning. We should be doing it every day of our lives, but today, by God, it's official. So make somebody happy. Start by making yourself happy for a while. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself. Make yourself happy. And be good to each other. Make somebody else happy. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.